The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Siriya Boonlert. Chapter 12. What Tom Overheard. A few minutes later, Tom was in the shallow water of the sandbar, stepping towards the honest bank before the water reached his waist. He was halfway over. Then he began confidently to swim the remaining 100 yards. He reached the bank, poured himself out, and set out in his streaming garments through to the woods. A little before 10 o'clock, he came out into an open space opposite the village and saw the ferry boat lying by the high bank. He crept down, slipped into the water, swam a few yards, and climbed into the rowing boat fastened to the ferry boat. He lay down and waited. Soon the bell rang. A voice gave the order and cast off, and the voyage began. Tom was pleased at his success, for he knew that it was the boat's last tip for the night. A quarter of an hour later, the engine stopped. Tom slipped overboard and swam ashore, landing 50 yards downstream, where there was less danger of being seen. He flew along desert lanes and soon found himself at his aunt's back fence. He climbed over and approached the window of Aunt Polly's room, for a light was burning there. There sat Aunt Polly, Sid, Mary, and Joe Harper's mother, ground together talking. They were by the bed, and the bed was between them and the door. Very slowly, Tom pressed open the door, trembling every time it creaked. When he thought that he might creep through on hands and knees, he put his head through and began. "Why is the candle burning so badly?" said Aunt Polly. Tom hurried up. "Why, that door's open, I believe." "Sid, go and shut it." Tom disappeared under the bed just in time. "But as I was saying," said Aunt Polly, "he wasn't bad, only mischievous. He never meant to do any harm, and he was the best heart boy that ever lived." She began to cry. My Joe was the same. He was full of monkey tricks, but always unselfish and kind. I whipped him for talking that cream, forgetting that I threw it out myself because it was salt. It is heartbreaking to think that I will never see him again, and this will never poor ill treat boy. Mrs. Harper wept bitterly. "I hope Tom is happier where he is," said Sis, "but if he been better in some ways." Sid, Tom knew that the old lady's eyes flashed, although he could not see them. "Don't say a word against my Tom now that he's dead." "Oh, Mrs. Harper, I don't know how to give him up. I don't know how to give him up. God gives and God takes away. But it's so hard. Oh, it's so hard. Only last Saturday my Joe made me jump with one of his noisy tricks and I struck him. If he could do it again, I'd take him in my arms and bless him for it. Yes, yes, I know that's how you feel, Mrs. Harper. Only yesterday my Tom filled the cat full of painkiller and I did think that the creature would tear the house down and God forgive me. I slapped him. Poor boy, poor dead boy. But he's out of all his trouble now, and the last words I ever heard him say were to blame me. But this memory was too much for the old lady, and she broke down. Entering, Tom was crying down and more in pity of himself than of anybody else. He could hear Mary crying and putting in a kind word for him from time to time. Still, he was sufficiently moved by his aunt's grief too long to rush out and overcome her with the joy of his return. But he resisted the temptations. He went on listening and gathered that he was taught at first that the boys had been drowned while having a swim. Then the small raft had been missed. Next, it was remembered that the missing boy had promised that the village would hear something starting soon. The opinion of most people was that the boys had gone off on the raft and would appear at the next town downstream, but at noon the left had been found against the bank 5 or 6 miles below the village. They must be drowned, otherwise Hanger would have driven them home. This was Wednesday night. If the boys continue to be missing and if their bodies were not recovered from the river before Sunday, all hope would be given up and the funeral service would be held on Sunday morning. Tom shivered. Miss Harper wiped her eyes, said good night, and left. Aunt Polly was far more tender than usual in her good night to Sid and Mary, who went off crying. Aunt Pauline knelt down and prayed for Tom so earnestly and with such infinite love in her words and her old trembling voice that Tom's eyes were streaming with tears long before she had finished. He had to keep still long after she had gone to bed, for she was restless and kept on murmuring broken heart Terry, but at last she lay still early morning, a little in her sleep. Now the boy stole out and stood regarding her. His heart was full of pity for her. He took out a black roll and placed it by the candle, but something occurred to him, and he stood considering. A smile lit up his face and he put the bag back in his pocket. Then he bent over and kissed the fresh leaf and tiptoed out. He went to the ferry landing and walked boldly on board the boat, for he knew that the worst man always slept in a loft. He until the rowing boat slipped into it was soon rowing cautiously across the rivers. He was determined to capture it, but he knew that a tourist search would be made for it and then they might be discovered. So he tied it up as soon as he ran and set off through the woods. It was broad daylight before he found himself opposite the island sandbar. He rested until the sun was well up and turning the surface of the great river into gold, and then entered the water. A little later he paused, dipping on the edge of the camp. "No, Tom," stressed he heard Joe say, "and he will come back. He won't desert. He knows that would be shameful for a pirate, and Tom too proud for that sort of thing. But I wonder what he's doing." "Well, he thinks ours aren't they?" "Nearly, but not quite." The writing said that they are if he not back for breakfast. "Which he is!" exclaimed Tom, stepping grandly into camp. A splendid breakfast was soon provided, and Tom described his adventures. They were a grand and boastful company of heroes. When he told was finished, then Tom hid himself away to sleep till noon, and the other pirate got ready to feed and explore.